Has there been any opening in the EU in particular to this argument, the per capita argument, the historic responsibility argument, because they stonewalled for so long? Is there any sort of, are they beginning to open to this position, at least some of them, some of the time now? Are you winning the argument with some people?
In fact, there are two arguments. We have to have an argument with the developing states about the question of that they should do more on mitigation, or at least plan to do more in the future on mitigation. And then we have to have this discussion not only with Europe, but basically with the United States and also Japan about historical responsibilities, and try to link this not prioritarily, as it was in the past, on mitigation, but on financing the whole process. I know this is extremely difficult because of the crisis, the economic crisis in Europe and the US, and also, but we should look at it on the long run, on a longer perspective. And if we can develop a carbon economy where lowering carbon has an important economic value, I think things become a little bit less difficult. What Brazil and South Africa, which will host the conference, tried to at least to have a sign towards the European Union that we will accept under certain conditions and from a certain date on the idea of everybody having legally binding objectives, which is an extremely difficult thing because China reacts very negatively on that, and India still more than that. And India managed to avoid any kind of inclusion of this formula in the final declaration. And more than that, they included something that for me is troubling, which is that we should, in a certain way, condition future goals to the 2015 reassessment by IPCC, as if IPCC was going to reassess something that different from what it has been assessing. We know that the reports of the IPCC, the general tendency of the reports goes from bad to worse. So what's the point of waiting for 2015 IPCC reassessment? But it's on the communique of the basic that you receive. What I saw was that the Chinese, they would accept some kind of flexibility. They were never explicit about what, because they didn't need, because India's position was so radical on the way of keeping everything like in the 90s that they felt quite comfortable about the whole situation. But I think that in the limit, what I feel that they could accept the idea of legally binding goals from 2020 on if other things happened, like, for example, this, which I'm advocating for, to link the differentiated responsibilities more to the financing package. And also, we cannot avoid the elephant inside the room, which is the US, of course. The US that came to Copenhagen with a 17% reduction target against the year-based 2005, which we thought was scandalously little. And then next year, the American Senate says, no, this won't happen. It's very difficult to have China move if the US is not moving. And the US will not move up to the election in November next year, way behind all our deadlines. And if Obama, in fact, is reelected, there's a chance that they will move. If the Republicans win the election, well, I'll leave it there.
All right, thanks. If the core debate is between the US and China over issues like this, what makes you think that a smaller group of people will be able to overcome those barriers? If you could just...
Yeah. No, I think it's an important debate, but if you analyze these groups, they exist already. You have the BASIC, which is a group of large, important developing countries. Then you have the EU, exists. Then you have, well, the US and Canada there. So it's not absurd to have pre-existent groups on an informal way discussing things in a unified way. It facilitates the discussion, facilitates eventual grasps on where it would be possible to find some common ground.